Okay, so although it's sunny, it's very cold. Not as cold as some parts of the country, and nowhere near as cold as my Canadian trip. But it's still bloody cold, and I'm English, so I've got to moan about the cold. Got to. Well, I've got to moan about the weather, not necessarily whether it's cold. So yes, it's bloody cold. And I'm out on the V-strom. And the reason I'm out on the V-strom is since I've come back from Canada, which was 2 weeks ago. Oh, that's nice. Nice little shine off that number plate. Yeah, since I've come back from Canada, there's been a catalogue of illness in my house. Well, I say a catalogue of illness. The missus was ill on the way back from Canada, and she was that ill that she was hospitalised for 2 days, and then she came out of there and was diagnosed with, well, she came out of there feeling fluey, out of Brighton Hospital, which wasn't the cleanest of places, to be honest. So it wasn't really surprising. She came out with more than she went in with. But yeah, she came out with a cold, which developed into a chest infection. So she's been off work now for 2 weeks. And meantime, last weekend I had to call an ambulance for my mum, who lives with us, because of her breathing. And it turns out she had a chest infection as well. But being that she's rather elderly, it really is messing her about. And she had COPD, which is bad breathing, can't catch her breath, stuff like that. It just accentuated that, obviously, being a chest infection. And yeah, she could hardly breathe at all. So her heart rate was mad when she went in, upwards. It was the lowest it was about 140 beats, and it was topping, I think the highest I saw was 207 beats. And your heart rate for an adult should be between 60 and 100. You take your time crossing the road. You all right, mate? Fucking hell. I just saunter across here. I know it's a main route and 40 mile an hour, but I've got my dogs. Yeah, so as I say, 207 was the highest beat rate that I saw. And coupled with not being able to breathe, low blood pressure, low on magnesium, low on potassium, low oxygen level. Oh yeah, she was taken in as an emergency. She's only just been put up on a ward, but she ain't doing so well. And I think best case scenario, she'll come out of hospital probably needing a walking frame, and with an oxygen bottle strapped to her nose. So yeah, I haven't had time for pleasure cruises on the bike, and I haven't had time to do the minimal amount of maintenance, as in chains and stuff. And you'll see my Hayabusa video later on, which I went out for a ride with. I went out for a ride with my mate. Loose term, very loose term that. We went over to Kent and back, and it was shitty, and it had been sorted. And when I came back, I had to park the bike up straight away and pack my bags for Canada. So it never got looked at all. So when I came back from Canada and took the sheet off of it, not only was it absolutely filthy, but the chain has gone rusty, and it is only the outside of the links, but it looks absolutely disgusting. So that needs some care. But also the V-strom hadn't been touched. So this ride here is just to warm up the chain, really. Well, have a bit of a play, possibly, hopefully. But yeah, it's to warm up the chain, so when I get back I'll put a load of lube on the chain. But the Hayabusa has the Worth dry wax on it, and I don't think it's good enough for winter riding. So I'll clean that off later and put on the rock oil chain lube that I use on the V-strom, on the donkey, which is what I'll be putting on when I get back. But yes, it's just to warm the chain up, get some heat on it, so when I do put the grease on it, it doesn't just solidify on top of it. It'll ooze into the cracks. That's what you need. You need your grease in your crack. Lubricate your crack. So that's about it, really. I will pull over in a minute and show you the V-strom, because I know how you people love a V-strom. Not quite as much as me. I really love my V-strom. Cheers, mate. Cheers. Yeah, well, this is wasting my time. I'll pull up here and show you the V-strom. And the V-strom, funnily enough, doesn't get as bad as the other bikes. And I think it's because of the belly pan. Now, this hasn't been washed for about 6 weeks, and it's my regular commuter. And I think it's because the belly pan takes the brunt of everything sprayed up from the front. Obviously it's got the long mud guard, so it doesn't suffer like the other bikes. Even the rear swing arm and everything, it doesn't get it. But there you go. Due to neglect, the chain's rusty on the outside. But the links themselves, you can't really see that, but they've got the grease on. It's just those outside links. But as I say, I'll go back and bathe that in oil, in grease. Not bathe it, cover it in grease to keep it alive, and I'll worry about that another day. But ultimately it doesn't suffer as badly with all the shit being flicked up. So yes, but it is a fine looking machine, isn't it? It's got to be said. Look at it, the mighty V-strom. It truly is a mighty machine. I love it. Little 650 engine, plenty of poke. Ideal for weather like this, because you haven't got really enough to get into too much bother, it says. We'll regret that down here. but more than enough. I mean, commuting, it's ideal. Top box on, throw all my shit in it to take to work. And sometimes the top box has got as much in it as, well, same weight as carrying a passenger. I love it. It's a brilliant all-rounder. But yeah, so I do love it. I do love it. Highly underrated, highly underpowered. But it's got the looks, and as I say, it's got enough to have some fun on it. You have to think a bit more about what you're doing. You have to plan your overtakes a bit more than the Hayabusa or the 1000. But yeah, as I say, due to a catalogue of illness in the house, I've been keeping up with the regular maintenance. Mainly chain care. And ironically enough, I think it's down to the fact that I cleaned the chains. I gave them a good clean and a good greasing, and I think all those protective layers of grease that I'd stuck on, I cleaned them all off, so it was bare metal pretty much. Hasn't helped it at all. So yes, I don't think I'll be ever cleaning chains again, because I've never had a rusty chain before, and I've gone out in terrible winter weather and shit weather and loads of salt on the road, piss-narby rain, all the rest of it, and so long as I grease my chain every, I don't know, if it was particularly bad, it might get it once a week. But I've never had the rust issue. Never. So it's a bit, well, it's a lot disheartening looking at your chain. It's bloody rusty. It just looks disgusting. As I say, it's quite a nimble machine, even with a rusty chain, which is bound to add at least half a kilogram of weight. You have a look at your phone while I'm overtaking you. Still not happy with this crash helmet, it keeps fogging up. There you go, there's the latest. And I'll get this done, and then I'll probably use the booster to go over and see my mum in the hospital. Yay! Take the long way round. Whee! Get over, you knob. Shoe knob in your Chelsea taxi thing. Oh no, wrong side of the road, mate. Run into the traffic and then you can see if it's going to hit you. Oh, that's another thing I'm really bad for, tyre pressures. And I checked all my bikes, and there's pretty much all the same. About £10 of pressure on both tyres, down on what they should be. So hopefully when I give the booster a little run out later, it will feel a bit more planted. But there you go, that's the latest. Bloody red light jumpers. It's their face! Oh my god! Picture! What a picture! What a photograph! Blatantly red light. The one in front of her was jumping the red light. Dear, dear, dear. Yeah, just sitting on the outside, minding my own business. I'm not overtaking, I'm not doing anyone any harm. Chewing my gum. Or is it grass? It's probably grass, isn't it? Probably chewing grass. What are you saying? What are you trying to say? She likes chewing grass. That'll do.